What if I told you that one of the most significant rebellions in world history started with something as simple as tea? It wasn't just a drink, it was the spark that ignited a revolution. The year was 1773, and the American colonies were growing increasingly restless under British rule. But why tea? Why was something so ordinary about to become the symbol of resistance? It wasn't just the tea, it was the tax. A tax on tea that Britain imposed without any representation from the colonies in Parliament. Imagine being taxed for something you had no say in. How would you feel? The famous Boston Tea Party of 1773 wasn't the first time the colonists protested British rule, but it was the one that really made waves across the globe. But here's the twist. Did you know that the British almost never saw it coming? On that fateful night, December 16, 1773, a group of colonists, disguised as Native Americans, boarded 3 British ships in Boston Harbor. But they weren't just dumping tea, they were sending a message to the Empire. The British response was swift and harsh. Instead of backing down, the Crown imposed the intolerable acts, punitive measures designed to punish the colonies. But ironically, this only united them further. This intense crackdown led to even more unity among the colonies. People who had once been divided began to see their future in a new light, a future where they ruled themselves. And so, in 1774, the First Continental Congress convened, marking the start of organized resistance. But here's something many don't know. They weren't just discussing war, they were discussing independence. Imagine being in that room. Some of these men had never agreed on anything before, and yet they were about to set the course for a revolution that would change the world forever. The next 2 years were filled with skirmishes, political maneuvering, and growing tension. Then, on April 19, 1775, everything changed. The first shots of the American Revolution were fired at Lexington and Concord. What's not often told in history books is how much the British underestimated the Americans. They thought the colonists were disorganized and unprepared, but they were wrong. Fast forward to 1776. The Continental Congress made a bold decision. They would declare independence from Britain. But here's the thing, not everyone was on board. Many still feared the consequences. On July 4th, 1776, the Declaration of Independence was adopted. But did you know the ink wasn't dry before the new nation was already in jeopardy? It was a fragile moment in history. And then, a stunning turn of events. France, long an enemy of Britain, decided to support the colonies. They sent ships, soldiers, and supplies. But why? What did France have to gain? It wasn't just about friendship, it was about rivalry. France wanted to weaken Britain, and they saw the revolution as their chance. The French were ready to take the side of anyone who would stand up to the British Empire. By 1781, the British were stretched thin. The Battle of Yorktown marked the turning point. The British forces, led by General Cornwallis, surrendered to the American and French forces. This victory led to the Treaty of Paris in 1783. Britain formally recognized American independence, but this wasn't just the end of a war. It was the birth of a nation that would change the world forever. What many forget is that this revolution wasn't just about freedom from Britain. It was about the possibility of something greater, a new kind of government where power rested with the people. The American Revolution wasn't just a war, it was a blueprint for revolution everywhere. It showed the world that the power of the people could create a new world order. So the next time you think of tea, remember that it was more than a beverage. It was the symbol of a fight for freedom, a fight that reshaped the world.